So, the other day I decided I wanted to make a tutorial on how to paint Damascus steel, even though at the time I'd never painted Damascus steel before. So I practiced a bit, just a bit. Now, to start, here's all the materials I'm going to be using. Of course, I have paint, which includes a metallic silver. I'll also be using a gloss varnish medium thing, which you don't really need. It just adds to the look a little bit, which I like. And I'm also going to have a brush to paint on the base layer, as well as a fan brush, or if you don't have a fan brush, I guess you can try and use an old scuffed up brush, which I'm going to be doing the main tutorial thing with the fan brush, but I'm also going to show how to adapt it for the old brush if you don't have a fan brush. Now, once you've prepared whatever surface you're going to be painting, which I'm just going to be painting a little piece of cardboard for this tutorial, start by painting on your base layer, which is like the lighter color. So for me, I'm going to just paint on a light gray, and then I'm going to paint over that with the metallic gray. This comes the part where you have to paint in the black lines. So for reference, here's the stuff I painted with the fan brush, and here's the stuff painted with the old brush. I recommend watching both parts though, because I'm going to be talking about techniques on both of these. So for the fan brush, it's really hard to paint like raindrop style Damascus steel. Well, at least I haven't figured out how to. So for the actual brush, you're not going to want to like work it into the black paint as much, because then it'll start to because then it'll clump together and have really small separations. So for the actual pattern, you're going to want to go with something like really wavy, like not just like that, but just kind of like all over the place, random, like almost unpredictable waviness. And you can like look up reference pictures for patterns of Damascus steel to give an idea. And when you're actually painting the pattern, you can don't just go like completely perpendicular to like the way the brush is facing. So you can kind of go like that, the side is just like that. You know, try and follow the pattern of the previous one a little bit. And I'd recommend leaving more towards like less than half of it being black instead of more than half. Which I kind of did here. Because the next part is, you can take another brush, which I'm just going to be using like a little corner of the one I was using to paint in all the gray and the silver. I'm just going to take a little corner of this and go in and do some detail touch-up work. And so like where there's like larger gray areas, you can just paint in like a little line. So actual Damascus steel has a variation in the thickness of the lines. So like right here, where the folds would be like much thinner, you'd have thinner lines as well that are closer together. Whereas like out here, where it's sort of like bending outwards instead of getting compressed in, you'd have thicker lines that are farther apart. Which, I kinda did here. I could have done a better job like this one. Oh, and one last note about the fan brush. So you know how I was talking about how like separated the brushes matters? Well, here's it with less separated, and here it is with more separated. Well, I mean like smaller separations. Okay, so for the scuffed brush, you're also able to paint like raindrop type Damascus steel, so I'm kind of gonna go over that as well. So you're really going to want it kind of, messed up and frayed, which this is honestly like the most frayed brush I have, which it isn't that frayed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a bunch of black paint on the end of it, and I'm just gonna go like this. So with the paint on it, it'll look a bit more frayed like this, and you can just, you know, keep doing that, get all nice and messed up, and look at that. So I'm going to paint raindrops for this one, and you can do sort of a regular pattern, or you can also go with something more random. I'll just go with something more random for this one. So I'll just start by painting in the raindrops, or like where I'm going to have the raindrops. Well, it looks a bit too regular. And now I'm going to sort of start painting around these. So for these ones, you don't want, for the actual raindrop spots, you don't want to add in too much black paint, which once again, kind of made that mistake here. But that's because for the scuffed up brush, adding in those extra detailed lines with another brush, you know, just kind of mainly going over it, that's really important for the scuffed up brush. So I'll just kind of, you know, go in around. Make sure you don't put down too much pressure, or else it'll end up putting down way too much black paint. Basically just a solid black line instead of lots of little ones. And if it's painting like one solid black line, you can try doing this more. And once again, don't do this to a brush you frequently use and care about.
Imagine, if you will, sitting down to your morning coffee, turning on your home computer to read the day's newspaper. Well, it's not as far-fetched as it may seem. In fact, both local San Francisco papers are investing a lot.
Now, so this is what I have so far. And next, once again, we're going to go in with another brush and just add in, you know, those extra little details to really, you know, fix up kind of our mistakes where there's too much silver, and to just, you know, make it look better. And this will be especially important for the droplets. So basically, you know, all of the droplets you want to kind of go over and fix. While I wait for this one to dry more, I'm going to show you what I use a gloss coat for. So, you know, I honestly don't know if I have to shake it or not. I kind of remember having to shake it. I don't know, but I'm just gonna shake up the gloss coat, pour some on my plate. And then this will, you know, help to make it shine more, like actual metal, I guess. It makes the colors appear like richer and stand out against each other a bit more. It's just a subtle difference, which I don't know will be picked up on camera, but I like it. If you do have gloss coat, like, you want to consider the fact that the black will no longer be a nice matte, which is kind of interesting to see, like holding it up in the reflection of the sun, having that, you know, shiny silver along with that matte black. And this will also leave really obvious brush strokes. So, you know, there are pros and cons to adding in a gloss coat. Okay, and there's the slightly glossier Damascus steel. So, there we have it. The two different kinds of Damascus steel that I painted. One of them is much more chaotic and it has raindrops in it, and the other is more regular, each painted with their own type of brush.